Hi. So it's been a while since I came on here and talked. Well, it's been a kind of a busy month. You'd wonder if there were any updates as to why my life suddenly is so busy, but there are none. Nothing's changed about it. It's just, I don't even know. I've just been busier. Not that I haven't wanted to put something up here, I really wanted to, but I even recorded 2 3 things, but then my phone kind of ran out of memory and didn't let me save them properly and edit them and put them up here. But I will fix them and I will put them up here soon. I guess most of this month kind of went in celebrating my friends' birthdays, and I was making long ass videos for both of them. So I've kind of been editing videos since like, I don't know, beginning of June till like 2 days ago. So yeah, I've been busy doing that, though I had so much fun doing that. I kind of stopped doing anything else. I haven't even watched much this month. That's not because of the editing, it's just I don't know, lost my mood. I need to get that back. Anyway, I am here with a topic to actually talk about this time, and that is that it's going to be my birthday in 48 hours, and I'm not prepared. It's too soon. It feels like. Wait, what did I do in 2019? Oh, yeah. Yeah, the surprise birthday. That feels like it happened like 4 5 months ago, not an entire fucking year ago. And I don't know, I feel like I wasn't prepared for my birthday this time. And suddenly it's in 48 hours, and I'm like, fuck, it's in 48 hours. I'm going to be 25 in 48 hours. And that thought is pretty depressing. Turning older, and also turning older on lockdown, when you can't do anything to celebrate it and to forget the fact that you're turning 25. It's a big ass number, dude. So yeah, that's a bit scary, it's a bit sad. And I don't want that day to come. And I'm kind of dreading the next 48 hours and the 24 hours of my birthday as well. It's going to be depressing to be at home. You know, I want to be with my friends. I want to be with my cat. I want to go home and eat mom's food. I even considered it, but then the risk of a young person like me carrying the disease home to two people above the age of 65. It's not a good idea. It's careless. So I don't know. I guess I won't be doing that. Not yet, at least. So yeah, it's going to be an indoors birthday, and I don't think I've ever had a birthday indoors before in my life. So I guess that is a bit scary. I don't know. Have I? I don't think I ever have. I'll do, for another video, I'll do like a roundup of what I've done for all my birthdays, out of which I might only remember like 6 or 7, because I don't remember jack shit of what I used to do in school. No fucking idea. I know I used to go to McDonald's with my friends, but that was when I was much younger, like when I was in like 4th and 5th grade, and my parents would take a group of us. We'd go to McDonald's in the rain. It was always raining. My birthdays always have rain. We go in the rain, we eat burgers, drink Coke, eat fries, and come back. And everyone gets a return gift with the Happy Meal or whatever. So, yeah, my parents sorted that out smartly. Um, but yeah, maybe another video, because I really cherish some of the birthdays I've had. And I thought about it the other day. Almost all of my birthday celebrations have been surprises. Almost all of them. Most of them, I think. It's pretty crazy. I'm pretty lucky to have had friends that care enough about me to surprise me and bring all of my friends together to celebrate for me. It's pretty special. Which is why I kind of feel a bit of a downer this time, because I know nobody's going to be surprising me this time. Nobody can, even if they want to. So I have to mentally prepare myself to stay at home. And it's weird because every other year I didn't expect a surprise. So I wasn't like hoping and worrying, oh shit, what if a surprise doesn't happen this year, then I'm going to be sad. I literally went into my birthday not expecting anything, not thinking about it, and it would end up being amazing. And this time, when I actually want to go into it hoping it'll be amazing, I worry that it's going to be the complete opposite. But yeah, okay, this video is going to have a lot of unintentional cleavage, but I can't help it. I'm already wearing this shirt now, so if I move around, it's going to be awkward. But yeah. Anyway, so this video is a bit weird because I've come on here to kind of talk about the way 2019 and half of 2020 has been to me. My eye is red. Well, I was scratching it a while ago. But yeah, it's kind of a weird video because it's kind of like you're tooting your own horn in a way, listing out your accomplishments to obviously make yourself feel better about it. But then I realized it's all of social media. Everyone's doing that and everyone does that for an audience. I can never imagine doing something like that for an audience, and people do that for an audience for a living. This is my own YouTube channel that only I watch, so I shouldn't fucking care about what I put on here. And if I want to toot my own horn, I shall. And I mean nothing wrong with people tooting their own horn on social media. Fuck it, man. Do whatever you want with it. I have the right or the choice to unfollow someone I don't like, so what you upload is nobody's problem but yours. I think that's what I believe. Though I also really have a very grumpy attitude to what people post. The people that I follow post and I bitch about them regularly, as my friends will know. But I still inherently believe that it's their choice. I can unfollow them if I want to. Okay, this is not a comfortable position. So yeah, let us review 2019. Can you see me? Okay. I actually made a list in my notebook because I had to think about these things and I don't want to think about them on camera because that makes the video a lot longer. So let's check out what our achievements for 2019/2020 have been. So there are more aspects to this list that probably won't fit in this video because I don't want this video to be like an hour long. Actually, who cares? It should be an hour long. But I know how long something like that would take to upload after trying to upload Nattu's video. It took, I think, 3 hours to upload. So yeah, I don't have that kind of time. Not right now. So I'm gonna do one list now. I have so many lists as if so many things happened in my life. Nahi hua hai. But I know I talk so much, so it might just take too much time. There'll also be things that I've forgotten and left out that I don't realize now. But I guess those will stay out because I can't edit all that in. Anyway, let's start with the way 2019 and 2020 have been. So last year, July, what was I doing? I was at Alliance career-wise. Rest of my life has been pretty much the same. I've been living in the same place. I wasn't in a relationship then. I'm not in a relationship now. So what else has changed? Nothing else can change. So yeah, it's just the career bit that's been the major obvious change, I guess. I was in Alliance back then, but it was getting really drab, monotonous, stagnant, and I wasn't seeing myself grow in that place, even though just a few months earlier, it seemed like the best place in the world for me to be at. Not in the world, in Mumbai, for me to be at. And it made sense, and I got so much out of it. Going to Cannes, going to Berlin. I don't think I'd ever get that elsewhere. I don't think anyone else would ever trust a newbie 23, 24-year-old to handle 23-year-old to handle something so massive. So yeah, that was a great experience, but it wasn't going anywhere after a point, and I had to leave. So I think the first major thing that I did in 2020 I'm just gonna say 2019, okay? I'm getting myself water, BRB. So yeah, the biggest thing I think happened was that I quit my job. But that should come as no surprise because I think the past few years, the only thing that's been consistent every year is that I've left jobs. I've quit so many jobs till now. It's sad. 2016 to 2020 is 4 years. And I have changed for more than 4 jobs. Wow, this is such a lullu haircut, but I can't give a shit right now. Yeah, quit my job. I still wonder if that was a good decision or bad, and I guess most people will tell me that it was a good decision, but sometimes I really question that because, at least at this point in time, right now on lockdown, in the midst of a pandemic, it feels like it would have been a safe option to not have left that place because I would have had some sense of security and stability. I'd still be getting a paycheck, and I'd be getting a paycheck for nothing because I used to not do any work at that place, which would kind of eat me from the inside. So, it's kind of a money or job fulfillment. What do you want? And at that point, I decided job fulfillment was more important, and I left that job without having a backup plan, without having another job to go to. And I do that so often, it's annoying. It's like I forget that I have all of these responsibilities and I have rent to pay and I have bills to pay. And I just leave jobs without having any backup plans. But somehow, I really believe these days that there is some kind of a guardian angel looking over me because I take way too many risks in life to still be feeling safe and secure and to still be safe and secure. So, yeah, whoever's looking out for me, thank you. So, yeah, I think that was one good thing that happened because even though I question it right now, it's because I look at it in a very myopic sense, in a very I need money sense. It wasn't furthering my career in any way, and even though I left it, I did find good backups. After Alliance, I went to FCG, which is not it's not my career goal. It's not something I aspire to be or do, and it wasn't something I was very proud to put on my resume. It was just something that came by, that paid really well, and seemed like a lot of fun. Like it was social media for an event. What the fun part was not that. The fun part was working with the people that I worked with, which is the second point in this list, which is I made new friends at that place that I feel like I'm going to have for a very, very long time. It's not all of them, but a few of them, and I think like I'll talk about one of them, Swati. She is just, I don't know, she's one of the sweetest, nicest, most adorable, most friendly, most generous people I've ever come across. And she's a decade older than me. She's married, she has a child and everything. You wouldn't be able to tell that she has a kid or anything. She's just super funky. Not funky, she's just super fun, and I don't know, she's great, she's amazing. And I think the biggest takeaway of doing FCG, a job that really didn't impact my career or my life in any way except for being fun, is that I got Swati out of it. That's the only reason I don't regret leaving Alliance and doing FCG, because I would never have met Swati. And honestly, now that I know her and I know the kind of friend that she is and the kind of person that she is, I don't want to go back to living a life where I didn't know her. And it's weird because we're not even close, but at the same time we are. Like, we rarely talk, but she's still, like, if I called her right now and I said, Swati, I really need you, I need you here right now, she would drop everything. And mind you, she has a kid. She'd still drop everything and she'd come here and she'd be there for me. She's a reliable, she's amazing. She's great, and I'm so glad I met her because she made the whole experience so much fun. Like, even though she was kind of the oldest of all of us, she was having the most fun among all of us. She made sure all of us were having fun. She made sure all of us were taken care of. We're having a good time. We're learning on our jobs, and she's great. So yeah, FCG was a good experience because of the people I worked with. I mean, there were other people as well. There was Aishu, who also I'm so glad that I met and worked with. I knew her already from before, But I'm glad I got a chance to work with her because even she's really fun and she ended up being a friend that I really care about and that really cares about me. And secondly, all of these people are super fucking fun. That's one of the best things I like about them because we used to go drinking a lot. Not just drinking, we used to just go for random ass lunches and dinners. And at that job, I kind of spent a lot of money eating out, which I realized in retrospect that I probably shouldn't have done because in just a couple of weeks, I was going to be completely jobless. Not completely, but yeah, if I had just gone on a few lesser lunches and dinners with them, I'd have had a little bit more money. But man, I don't regret it. I've never been part of a group where we go out regularly to eat at different places and try out different cuisines and try out different restaurants in the city. And with these guys, I did. They took me to different places to drink and to eat. It was just, they were a really fun group. They're like the cool group that I had, and that were also my work colleagues. And that doesn't always happen. You don't always enjoy hanging out with your work colleagues like this. So I'm really glad that happened. So yeah, there's Aishu. There's also Haima, who is Nattu's classmate actually, who ended up mm, interning for us for just a month. Eventually, we didn't get to do the event with her, so I'm sad about that because I really wanted to work with her on the event. But yeah, stupid coronavirus happened and the entire event got cancelled. But yeah, that was a good temporary gig that I had for a few months. It paid really well. It paid like, I think, not more than like 60% more than I was getting paid at my previous job. That's the main reason I took it, because I thought it's a good temporary gig. Plus, if I take them, then I'll be a little sorted for the next few months, even if I don't have a job. And guess what? I don't have a job. But yeah, I'm a little bit sorted, I guess. So I'm okay. So that happened. I did a fun, cool gig, made new friends, and actually, let's be frank, I had a lot of fun doing FCG also. Like eventually the event we did do in December was so much fun, and I think part of the reason for that is also because I got to work with Suchin again, and it had been over a year that I had worked with him, and I really missed being his teammate and being his team partner, and we were literally working like the two of us were a team for the FCG event, and he's just so good at his job, and I was really freaking out the entire event, and I was on my nerves for the whole thing. Is that a saying? I was on edge. I think that's the saying. And I think he's the only one that knows to calm me down when I'm stressed out at work, especially. And yeah, he just made the event a lot more fun. He took control of things, even though I was technically his boss at the thing or whatever. But he took charge and he made sure I was eating enough, drinking enough, resting enough, making sure I got all the shots I needed, all the interviews I needed. Yeah, he was amazing. And then after the event, we all went out drinking to, where did we go? BSC, I think, somewhere on Linking Road. And we fucking had a blast. I haven't partied in so long. It's really sad. I don't remember the last time I really drank and danced and partied before this night in December after the event. And that was crazy. We were out drinking and partying till like 4 a.m. Yeah, I think this past year hasn't been very heavy on the drinking and partying scene as such. The year before that really was. The beginning of 2019, we were still partying a lot. But yeah, I think lately it's just been, everyone's been getting busier, and sadly, yeah, that's not been happening. Anyway, so that's two things ticked off the list. This list isn't very long because this year honestly wasn't that great, at least compared to other years, and excuse me, lol. I just think I need to probably change my definition of what a great year has been. All this while, I mean, when you're young, things happen to you more. I don't know how to describe this, but when you're younger, there are changes that are happening more rapidly in your life because you're still getting to a place where, like, how do I say this? Because this is a school, and then there's junior college, and then there's college, and then there's a job, and there's so many things that happen in the middle of all this. You start dating people, you start making new friends, you start chasing a career, you start finding new interests, new hobbies. But then once you reach this age, 25, all those major things that were supposed to happen in your life have already happened. So now those major things can't keep happening. You can't keep going back to college. You can't keep making new friends. It's difficult now. So now on, your life can't be defined as great only if it's adventurous. Maybe the adventures will reduce, and maybe the definition of a good year or good will change into something else. Maybe the past year that I've had has not been adventurous, but it definitely has not been a bad year. Nothing, touchwood, nothing tragic happened last year. Like 2018 was pretty tough as a year. Even though a lot of good things happened, a lot of bad things also happened. I don't want to get into that right now. We're not talking about 2018. But man, I think 2019 to 2020 has been pretty good so far, except for the pandemic. Nothing bad happened. I know I lost my job, and that's a bit tough right now, and it kind of scares me for sure, but it's definitely a challenge. I don't think it's a tragedy. And that's huge coming from me, because if you asked me 2 years ago, even less than 2 years ago, if you asked me last year how I would react if I lost my job tomorrow, which literally happened this year, okay? One day I had a job and the next day I didn't. Yeah, I would fucking freak out. I would not be able to take it. I'd be so anxious and I'd be so depressed and worried, and it wouldn't be good. But right now I'm in a kind of state of mind where I feel more mature and more adult about this. Like, I'm not seeing this as a temporary state, moving out, living here on my own. This isn't a temporary thing where when things get hard, I run back home. I'm not seeing it that way anymore. I'm out for the long haul. I'm not going back home unless things come to dire straits. It's not something I'm hell bent on not doing. Like, if things come to it and I need to go home, touch wood, I hope nothing like that ever happens. It's not like that, but I'm not going to see that as a backup plan anymore. Like, when I left home, I genuinely thought, okay, when things get rough, at least I can go back home. There's my safety net. And every time mom and dad would talk about leaving Bombay and moving away and settling down in Goa or Karjat or wherever, because they're getting old now, it would freak me out, because I'd be like, fuck, what about my safety net? What if I don't have a job tomorrow and I can't pay bills? I have to go home. If they are not in Bombay anymore, where the fuck am I going to go? How will I make money? And I feel like this past year I've gotten a lot more secure in feeling like I'll be okay if they move away. And they talk about that still, that they'll move away, and now I don't freak out. I encourage them, because genuinely they don't have a reason to be here anymore, unless like mom gets a good job or something. Like, she's lost her job. So yeah, that worries me a bit, because I don't know how they're going to manage. They have been, I don't know how I managed to become so frugal and careful with my savings and my money. Even though it looks like I spend a lot on random shit, I'm actually really good at savings also. They're not. I don't want to get into it. All I'm saying is that I think this past year has been good in different ways, in ways that I can't quantify and I can't put on a list. But I think it's a big improvement, a big step ahead for me if I feel this security in my head, if I'm able to be unemployed for 3 months and not have a nervous breakdown. I did have a nervous breakdown in December of 2018 when I left mommy and I wasn't getting a job anywhere else. That was a bad month. It's not right now. And that's not to say it's all in the mind. I do have a job and I do have money that's coming in and allowing me to pay rent. I always had that though. I had that in December 2018 as well, but I freaked the shit out that month. It was a bad month. It was coupled with a lot of other things. A breakup and just being unemployed for the first time in my whole working life since I started working in 2014 or 2013. But yeah, I am a lot more stable in my head right now, and I'm thankful to this past year for that. I've realized that things get bad for a couple of months, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be bad forever. I just need to make it through these next few months, be frugal with my savings, not spend on random shit like Swiggy. Thankfully, I don't do that very often anymore. Anyway, but yeah, I just need to be careful. Like today, just today, I was having a craving for chocolate, and I added brownies to my cart on Swiggy, and it came up to $303. And just when I was just when I was about to hit pay, I just left the app. I just closed the app and I got out of it and I threw my phone and I walked away. And I didn't order the brownies and I saved 300 rupees. I know didn't satisfy the craving, but it's fucking fine. The craving went away and now I don't want it anymore. I ate some Cadbury from my fridge, which was 40 rupees, so that wasn't expensive. But yeah, I need to have more self control, and I guess I'm learning. These are the things that come with this romantic idea of moving out. They don't show you this in the movies. They don't tell you how difficult it's going to be, how lonely it's going to be, how many sacrifices you have to make. And this is me, a very privileged, entitled individual talking. Someone that already, anyway, has a job to keep her going. Whatever. It's still difficult. It's still super fucking difficult. But you gotta do it. It's not more difficult than living with your parents, so. Okay, the next thing. Wow, I spent half an hour and I only talked about 2 points. The third thing is that I took a trip to Jibi in December, right after the first FCG award show. Not right after, but I'm so glad I did that because I was not going to take a trip that month. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to do for New Year's, okay? And I kept asking all of my friends if they wanted to do anything. Nobody seemed excited enough. And genuinely, honestly, I also wasn't excited for New Year's. I was like, whatever, I don't care. I'll spend it at home. Doesn't matter to me. But then I saw this trip and it was really cheap. And it was actually a friend that was doing this, a new friend that I had made in Delhi just a few months ago at Man and Sister's wedding. Oh my god, yeah, Delhi is not on this trip, dude. On this trip now, on this list. I'm adding Delhi to this list. Jibi is on this list, but oh my god, this trip. I think it's. Actually, I say this for all the trips I've ever taken, but this is one of the trips that I had the most kind of unconventional fun on. Like, firstly, I didn't plan on going to taking this trip, okay? It was very impromptu. I decided in like one evening that I'm going, and I was going alone. None of my friends were coming. It wasn't planned with my friends. I wanted to do something for New Year's. I wanted to not wait around for other people to make plans and then be sad when those plans didn't come through. And I decided, okay, let's go. And we're going, and this was a trip to a snowy region, okay? And I've never seen snow in my life, so that was kind of, that's that should be on my list. That's not on my list. Why is that not on my list? See, there are so many things I would have missed out. I saw snow for the first time, bro. Okay, I didn't see it for the first time. I saw snow in Ladakh. This is the first time I actually fucking walked and played in snow, and I was in snow for like 12 hours at a stretch or more. That's never happened to me before. And it was fucking amazing. The whole trip was amazing. I don't know if I should talk too much about it, but yeah, maybe I should. Yeah, I mean, it was a trip with absolute strangers. They were not even from Mumbai, they were from Delhi, and it kind of feels like, I don't know, it kind of feels like they were a lot different than me, even though they're kind of the same people, but they're from another state, but it still feels like they were different people, and I got along with them pretty easily. I made a lot of new friends, and we still reply to each other's stories and tell each other that we miss each other and check in on each other. So that was a really, really nice trip. I had a lot of fucking fun on that trip, man. Like, one of the most heartwarming trips. I think about it and my heart just melts. Every day of that trip was an adventure. Every night was all of us people, strangers sitting together around a bonfire and talking and chatting and getting to know each other. And it was so cold that we just, in the night, we'd all huddle up to we had a common area. It was like a duple apartment. So on the top story, we'd all go and sit there and we'd huddle up under blankets because it was so cold, and we'd drink and we'd smoke so that we could, like, mostly to have fun, but also because it's so cold that it would help. And we'd all get like cutely buzzed and drunk, and we'd start talking and we'd be laughing the whole time. I have to say, people from Delhi are a lot funnier than people from Bombay, and they do it so effortlessly. Every sentence that they'd say would be funny, and they weren't even trying. We'd be laughing the entire time. Like, I'm not even joking. If we were sitting there for half an hour, we'd spend 25 minutes of those half an hour laughing, and the other 5 minutes were to listen to the sentences that people are saying so that we laugh. We would laugh for minutes at a stretch. And we were so stoned and high and drunk that we wouldn't even realize that we were just laughing and the joke was long gone and over. It was just so cute, and there was no drama. Okay, there was a little drama, but it was only like with this one annoying person. It wasn't like a group thing where everyone made groups and like were fighting against each other. There was just one guy who was like a really regressive guy, and we all stayed away from him. But whatever, in the end, we'd even include him in our things. We'd never exclude him from things. It was a very pure gathering, if that's what it's called. I don't know, I just had so much fun on that trip. I hated the cold. Most days I found it really difficult to fall asleep because the cold was literally biting. I would feel the cold to my bone. And it wasn't even that cold because those fucking Dilliwalas were roaming without jackets and socks, and I was like, what the fuck, bro? They used to even bathe. And sometimes we used to not even get hot water because they didn't have geysers, they were all like bucket system, and I used to be like, what the fuck, you guys are bathing? You guys are actually getting completely naked? I don't think I I don't think I ever got completely naked on that trip. I did not fucking bathe. No way. Fuck no. Anyway, that was a good fucking trip, and that really made 2019 a great year for me. That was a great way to end the year. We were up there, and I took a break from my phone, from my internet, not my phone. And it was a great break because there were a lot of bad things happening in the country, and I needed to just reset my mind for a bit and think about happy things. As privileged as that sounds, I needed to do it. And yeah, JB was amazing. JB was one of the greatest decisions I've ever had. I saw the Milky Way for the first time. That's another thing on my list. I saw the Milky Way for the first time in my entire life. Hopefully not for the last time. Yeah, snow and Milky Way in the same trip. That's some shit, bro. Wow, this video is really long. It's 35 minutes already. I don't know how I'm gonna upload such a long video, but I'm still gonna keep talking. We'll deal with that problem when we need to. So yeah, GB. But it didn't end there. After GB, I went to Delhi for 3 days, 2 or 3 days, and I lived with Dora, who is a friend I made at Manan's wedding. So not Manan's wedding, Manan's sister's wedding. So it's kind of sweetly, cutely strange. But I became friends with all of Manan's best friends, her school friends, at that wedding, and now I hang out with them without her. But she's still with it. She's super nice. So she has nothing to sing about it. And all her friends are so nice. And it makes sense because literally all 4 of those people in that group are as nice as the next one. Everyone's fucking sweet, and it's so nice that they all found each other because they're so welcoming. Like that girl, Dora, I didn't even ask her if I could stay at her house. I was gonna stay at Nagara's house, which in retrospect sounds so fucking weird, and I'm so fucking glad that didn't happen. She just, when she heard that I was in Delhi, she called me up instantly and she was like, where are you staying? You are gonna stay with me. You're just gonna stay with me. And when she said that, and I thought about, wow, living with Dora, I was like, instantly, I was like, fuck yeah, dude. Why didn't I ever think of asking her? Because I know if I asked her, she would not say no. She'd be glad to have me. And yeah, I went and I lived with her for 2 days, and it was her and it was Tushar, her best friend, and also the another guy that I met at Man and Sister's wedding. And we had such a ball at Man and Sister's wedding that I knew that whenever I meet these people next, we're just going to have the time of our lives, and we did. They showed me around the city, and even when we were staying, we stayed at home also for most part because it was pretty cold and we used not want to go out much. But we just had a great time even being at home. No, actually, we did go out a lot. They showed me Jama Masjid,